Hi everyone. And why they are called as glorified reptiles? That is what is the beauty of birds, right? Peacock is our national bird. The lungs are spongy and non-dilatable. Hi everyone. Welcome back to session 14 of this chapter called Animal Kingdom. In the last session, we completed a very important class called class Reptilia. So we are just following the 5 classes of phylum Chordata vertebrata, and we completed class Reptilia. What am I going to do in today's session? By seeing this beautiful picture, you can make a guess. Yes, I am going to discuss about a very important class called class Apes. So what is this? This is nothing but a beautiful bird. So class Apes are also called as birds. Birds are called as glorified reptiles by a scientist by name Huxley. Huxley called these birds as glorified reptiles. They are glorified reptiles. And why they are called as glorified reptiles? Actually there is one fossil bird called Archaeopteryx. This is called as a fossil bird. And this bird forms a connecting link between class Reptilia and class Apes. So this Archaeopteryx bird forms, this is a fossil bird, forms a connecting link between the reptiles and birds. It shows both the features of reptiles and birds, hence it is called as a connecting link between the reptiles and apes. This is a fossil bird, right? So as I said, class Apes is also called as class birds, and the study of birds is called ornithology. And the study of bird is called ornithology. Who does not like birds, right? Birds are the beautiful animals on this planet Earth. And the beauty of this birds lies on their different color and even the beak. Like all of you might have come across the green bird parrot with a red beak, right? Such a beautiful bird. Crow, completely black. Then the house sparrow, pigeon. Then the very important beautiful bird, that is peacock, right? We come across a good number of birds, beautiful birds on this planet Earth. So moving on to the class Apes or birds, as I said, the study of birds is called ornithology, and Huxley called the birds as glorified reptiles. And as we come across one fossil bird called Archaeopteryx, which forms a connecting link between the reptiles and the birds. One more scientist by name Young called them as masters of air. Masters of air. Why are they called as masters of air? Because they fly in air. They fly in air. We cannot fly in air because of our heavy body. But see the beauty of these birds. They fly in air so very meticulously because they have a light body, and that is because of the presence of a hollow bone called pneumatic bone. So what makes them to be the masters of air? They have wings as the organs of flight. So they are very successful in flying because of their wings. And not only that, they have very strong flight muscles. They have flight muscles. So why are they called as masters of air? Because they have wings as organs of flight. Then they have strong, we can call it as strong flight muscles. Then they have pneumatic bones, pneumatic bone or hollow bone, which reduces the specific gravity. And not only that, they have absence of gallbladder to minimize the weight, of the body. And they have a very sharp vision because of presence of pectin. Because of pectin, they have a very sharp vision. Hence, they are called as masters of air by a scientist by name called Young. So, they are successful flyers. So, how are they able to fly? Why are they called as masters of air? Because they have wings as organs of flight, and they have strong flight muscles which support the wings or the wings, and they have hollow bones or pneumatic bones which is going to reduce the specific gravity of the body. And also one very important, they have presence of single ovary with single oviduct. Single ovary with single oviduct. Absence of what? Gallbladder, which minimizes the weight of the body. Then they have very sharp vision, and that sharp vision is because of the presence of pectin. So these are the reasons why these are called as masters of air. Let us move on to the characteristic features. You know, they have wonderful characteristic features, right? Now these are the first vertebrates which are adapted to what? They are called as homeotherms. That is, they are warm-blooded animals. What do you mean by warm-blooded animals? That is, the body temperature is constant. It does not change according to the external environmental conditions. And I think all of you know they have tail feather which is going to act as a steering device in air. Because they are flying in air, you know what is that which gives them the direction? That is the tail feathers, which act as what? Steering device. Then, as I said, they are homeotherms. That is, warm-blooded animals. They maintain a constant body temperature. So, the body temperature is constant. It does not change according to the external environmental conditions. Here, the forelimbs are modified into wings for the purpose of flight. Very, very important. Here, the forelimbs are modified into wings for the purpose of flight. And the body is short and spindle shaped. And why the body is short and spindle shaped? To minimize the resistance to air while flying. See how beautifully they are designed. They are designed in such a way that they can fly very easily and successfully in air. And that is because the body is short and spindle shaped to offer what? Minimum resistance to the body in air while flying. So these are the very important characteristic features of bird class Apes or class birds. So what is it? So they are homeotherms. That is, warm-blooded animals maintain a body. So as I said, their homeotherms are warm-blooded animals which maintain a constant body temperature. And here the forelimbs are modified into wings for the purpose of flight, and the body is short and spindle shaped to offer minimum resistance to air while flying. Here you can see in this beautiful picture so very beautiful birds. See, that is what is the beauty of birds, right? We enjoy them by, like, when you see those beautiful color parrot, you can see here how beautifully they are colored, right? That is the beauty of, see the peacock, my lord. If you just see its stretched wings, feathers, then definitely we'll be astonished to see the beauty of the peacock, right? Now let us move on to the other characteristic feature. The skin is dry and non-glandular. Very important characteristic features. The skin here, it is dry. It is not wet. It is dry and non-glandular. It does not produce any secretions except for the preen gland, which produces oil, which is used for cleaning the feathers. And the jaws are modified into toothless beak. Hope you might have come across many birds having different types of beak. For example, like the parrot. You might have seen the shape of a parrot's beak and that of a woodpecker. Woodpecker has a sharp beak, and that is the reason why it is called as woodpecker. It is going to peck the wood, and hence it is called as woodpecker. And you might have seen the parrot, and here you can see the swan, how it is swan neck, S-shaped. So the neck is S-shaped, right? Here you can see how the beaks are differently modified. Here you can see, right, how the beaks are differently modified. Here also you can see how it is. So here the jaws are modified into what? The jaws are modified into toothless beak. So here they don't have teeth. Teeth is modified into what? Beak. Next, as I said, they have pneumatic bones. What do you mean by pneumatic bones? Air cavity bearing bones, which is going to make the body very light so that they can fly in air. That is the reason why they are able to fly in air and they are successful flyers in air. It is because they have a pneumatic bone or a hollow bone, which is absent in case of mammals, right? We don't have a hollow bone, right? Next, the heart is four-chambered. The heart is four-chambered with two auricles and two ventricles, and they are oviparous animals. What do you mean by oviparous animals? Egg-laying. And here very important is the eggs are large, contain large amount of yolk and provided with shell. So here the type of egg is called cleodoic egg, shelled. Until it is hatched, it is covered over by a shell, and that is a means of what? Protection. Means of protection for the developing embryo. For the developing embryo. So cleodoic egg shell, that is the shelled eggs, and it is a means of protection for the developing embryo. So until they are hatched, they are covered over by a shell. So they are called as what? Cleodoic eggs. So what are the other very important features? The skin is dry and non-glandular. The jaws are modified into toothless beak. They have pneumatic bones or air cavity bearing bones. The heart is four-chambered with two auricles and two ventricles. They are oviparous animals, egg-laying animals. And what type of eggs you come across here? Cleodoic eggs, that is covered by a calcareous shell, which is a means of protection for the developing embryo. Now let us move on to the other characteristic features. The body, as I said, see how beautiful this bird is, peacock. You know, peacock is our national bird. See how beautiful it is. That color itself, the peacock blue color, is such a beautiful, wonderful color, right? And you might have come across when it is about to rain, it will start stretching its feathers. So beautiful it looks, right? So the body is covered by feathers, very important. You know, it is a means of protection also, and it is a means of flight. It's a flight, organ of flight also. Then there is one, what we call it as Urophysial oil secreting gland at the base of the tail. It is also called as preen gland, which produces what? Oil, which is used to clean the feathers. Which is used to clean the feathers. So for cleaning of the feathers, this oil will help. Urophysial oil secreting gland at the base of the tail. And very, very important, you might have heard about the koel bird. It sings so very nicely, and that sweet voice is because of the, what we call it as syrinx or voice box, right? So you can come across many birds giving different types of sounds, and that is also one means of communication between the birds. And usually you might have come across the birds always fly in flocks, so together. So even the sound what they produce is one means of communication, right? Then they have syrinx or voice box, very, very important. Next, the alimentary canal or the digestive system opens to the exterior by an aperture called cloaca. Aperture called cloaca. And this cloaca serves both expulsion of the excretory waste and also for the reproduction, right? So the alimentary canal opens to the exterior by cloaca, I think, which you have also come across in class amphibia. Amphibians also have this external aperture called cloaca. Next, the lungs are spongy and non-dilatable. The lungs are spongy and non-dilatable. All these are some means of mechanism to maintain the body weight. So as I said, the body is very light, and that lightness of the body is because of all these certain very important things which will make the body very light so that it can fly in air. Next, fertilization is internal due to irreversible cloaca. So here there is a very important structure called irreversible cloaca. So fertilization is internal due to irreversible cloaca. And here we classify the birds into flightless birds and flying birds. What do you mean by flightless birds? So here what you can call the feathers are the wings are there for flight, but they cannot fly. You might have come across ostrich because of their heavy body weight, right? Because of their heavy body, more body weight, they are not able to fly in air just like human beings. So ostrich, then penguin, emu, kiwi. If you come across penguin, they are very successful, very good swimmers and divers also, right? And ostrich, kiwi, emu, all these are called as what? Flightless birds. Wings are there, but they are of no use. They cannot fly high like the other birds fly. Flying birds, I think all of us might have come across pigeon, parrot, peacock, crow, then sparrow. House sparrow, I think almost we are not able to see the house sparrows nowadays. It is because of this mobile towers. There are many reasons to quote why almost the sparrows are disappeared from the environment. And there are many, see, as I said, all these are very important to maintain the ecological balance. A day may come where we might see some of the birds even only in pictures. So as we know, many of people hunt these birds. So that is the reason why these are declining, or the number of the bird population is coming down and down. So these are the very important characteristic features of class Apes. You might have come across a beautiful, just now I told you, it is called koel. Koel is known for its sweet voice. You know what is the other very important feature of this koel? This koel is more or less like a crow, right? And this koel is going to lay eggs in the nest of crow, and the crow will mistake it to be its own egg and it will start hatching it, right? So that is how it will that is how the koel will come across the hatching of its own eggs by the crow, and that mechanism is called brood parasitism. This is called brood parasitism. So koel will lay the eggs in the nest. I think all of you know nest making is very important feature of birds. They build their own nest. You know, like how we come up with big buildings, but see these birds so beautifully, they'll build their nest with the minimum things what they get around in the environment, right? Like straw, paper, plastic. They even take all those things and build a nest. And that building of nest is mainly to what? To lay eggs. To lay eggs. We come across that parental care is highly developed. Parental care is highly developed. Until the eggs are hatched and the young ones learn to fly, it is taken care by the mother. So that is very and nest building also is very important feature of these birds. So you can say they are the wonderful animals on this planet Earth. So this is all about the class Apes. So body is covered by feathers, Urophysial oil secreting gland at the base of the tail, which is also called as preen gland, which is going to secrete oil, and that oil is used for what? Cleaning the feathers. And they have syrinx or a voice box to make sound, and making sound is a means of communication for these birds among themselves. As I said, they always fly in flocks. Then the alimentary canal or the digestive system opens to the exterior by an aperture called cloaca, and there is a reversible, cloaca which is very important for fertilization, and that fertilization is internal. The lungs are spongy and non-dilatable. See, in human beings, the lungs are dilatable. It contracts and relaxes. But here it is non-dilatable. Then we classify the birds into flightless birds and flying birds. Why? Based on whether they are able to fly or not. Flightless birds, though they have wings, they cannot fly. As you know, the birds are known for their flight, right? They are called as aerial animals. So flightless birds like ostrich, penguin, emu and kiwi. Then flying birds, you come across a good number of birds. Pigeon, parrot, peacock, crow, sparrow, right? All these are the examples for the flying birds. Hope you have understood about this very important class class apes or birds, having so many beautiful varieties of birds, and also they have different characteristic features. As I said, the birds are called as what? Glorified reptiles. According to Huxley and according to Young, they are called as what? Masters of air. Right? So I'll be back with one more last but one session of this very important chapter called Animal Kingdom. Till then, goodbye and thank you.